Hello, if you're new to our mailing list community, welcome. If you've been with us for a while, it's fantastic that you're here. This is an opportunity for us to get to know each other better, a chance for me to answer your questions about mental health and addiction, to dive deeper in some of the subjects we cover in our YouTube videos, to talk about live events that we're doing and our deeper ethos and understanding and where we want to take this community. And the first thing I want to tell you is we're releasing an additional 200 tickets. It's still a very intimate event for our one-day July the 10th community festival with Wim Hof and Vandana Shiva. There's a link in the description. Get your tickets. Do not delay. Do not despair. If you can't afford a ticket, and remember that all the money goes to the Stay Free Foundation, which I run with a couple of trustees, where we make charitable donations to people with mental health issues and addiction issues. 10% of the revenue will straight away go to this, so there's no only profits, legal skullduggery. And down the line, we'll make a few free tickets available that you can nominate someone for if you yourself have a ticket or if you want to apply for one. I guess we'll try and work out a way around that as well. But I want to tell you now, this is the time to get your ticket. Get it immediately. This is a day that I have long dreamed of. I'm going to be there. I'll see it this way. I'm going to be in robes, long beads, mooching about. Vandana Shiva's going to be there teaching us how to bring down corporations. Wim Hof's going to be there telling us how to empower ourselves greatly. Meditation teachers, survivalists, people that know how to make stuff so we can build our own communities with our own hands, teach our own kids, wrench our minds out of the matrix, get that damn thing out of the back of your neck, flip that blue pill away and get on with our journey to enlightenment. It's going to be a beautiful day. Get your tickets now. I recognise that it's not a cheap ticket, but it's not a cheap event to put on, and we ain't making a single penny. Any penny we make will go into the Stay Free Foundation to help people with addiction and mental health issues. People like Friendly House we'll be making donations to. That's a women-only treatment centre in LA. To Treasures, that's a facility that helps women in the UK. BAC O'Connor, that's a treatment centre. And we do make individual grants as well. So you can email us at help@RussellBrand if you know someone or if you yourself feel that you need some help getting into treatment or with your own mental health. We're in our early days. We're doing our best. Currently, we give all the merchandise money. There's a link in the description to the merchandise, or stuff like this phone cover and all the Crow merch and all the t-shirts and all the 33 gear. That all goes into the foundation as well. And on Friday the 17th of June, so that's just a couple of weeks from now, we're going to do a live stream Zoom call just for a few hundred people, where I will talk about news stories like I always do on my YouTube videos, but you'll be there and I'll be able to answer your questions and commune with you directly. So join us for that. It'll be at a point where you can get on it if you're in LA or New York or London. People in Australia, New Zealand and that other hemisphere, I'm sorry, it might be challenging for you unless you're willing to stay awake using breath techniques or whatever method you use to stay awake. We've been offered some sponsorship for this mailing list. I don't know whether or not we should take it. Any money we make, we're going to give to the Stay Free Foundation that I've mentioned. Sometimes it's good money. Do you think we should accept it? Yes or no? It's a simple yes or no. Yes, we should accept it or no. Vote on the poll in the email if you would. Let me know. I think probably we should, because we give the money directly to the Stay Free Foundation. We'll give it to drug addicts, not using drug addicts. We don't them going out buying more drugs. No, drug addicts that are trying to stay free and clean. So you let me know what you think about that. I'd love to see the poll. Please vote in that poll. You could come and see Gabor Mate record an episode of Under the Skin here at our HQ. There's only 50, 60, 70, a small number of seats available. If you want to come, there's a link in the description to get your ticket. And as always, all funds will go to the Stay Free Foundation that helps people with addiction and mental health issues get better, if it's possible to even be better. Me and Gabor Mate will be talking about his new book, The Myth of Normal. It's going to be a fantastic conversation, so you could witness that podcast live. So there's a link in the description if you want to do that. I told you, this community is buzzing now. We're doing all sorts of live stuff. We're doing stuff online. So you can come to the live event with me, Wim and Vandana Shiva. You can come and see me chat to Gabor Mate. You can come and join a Zoom call where I do the news live to you, just a few hundred people, and we interact. We are offering you real insight. Now, here's some of your comments on my YouTube videos. We did some great videos this week. We did something on the Wuhan lab cover-up story. Listen to this. This is from Tevin Chidester, subscribed for 7 years. He said, "Stop saying conspiracy theory. Conspiracies are not theories. In fact, almost all deception is a conspiracy." Thank you, Tevin, and thanks for subscribing for such a long time. Josh Boomer, subscribed for 1 year, said, "There's a shift of consciousness that is unexpected. Let's research that first instead of pointing fingers." Redwoods Reddick says, "Are you fucking serious? There should be 100% transparency. If not, we should 100% revolt." Just a little call to revolution there from Redwoods Reddick. I'm right behind you, mate. I certainly want to be in front of you. If that Redswood Reddick, I don't know what might occur. A Life by Design, subscribe for 1 year. All of us who are awake at this juncture know they are trying to avoid the noose. Fair point. Paul M. Edwards, if no one could make any profit from medicine, would medicine be as advanced as it is now? Highly doubtful. That said, the obscene profits reaped by private entities on the backs of public funding is completely unethical. Perhaps it would be acceptable if the public funding were paid back from the first profits realised or a significant portion thereof. Paul, I like that. That's a sensible policy. I think. Well, let me know in the comments to this video whether who you agree with and who you disagree with. Also on the YouTube channel, this is from Jeremiah Huey. He's been a subscriber for 2 months. Welcome, mate. Welcome to our community. I work for Amazon and they treat us like shit. If you're a strike, you're fired. They fire people over the oddest of slights. When you're locked out of the building, then you know you're fired. Peculiar. Justine April, subscribed for a year, says, after the fiasco of the 2000 POTUS general election, I became a registered independent. Why can't we have just more than 2 political parties? There are good reasons for that, and I discuss them at length in my podcast with Matt Stoller on Under the Skin. Next episode we do, you'll love it. Join us for that. My Awakening YouTube side channel, you should consider subscribing to that too. These are some comments from my episode with Joe Dispenza, where we talk about controlling our inner life and not being a victim to our emotions. AA says, the comment about no healthcare system is going to save us was a light bulb moment for me. As a nurse in Canada, I've experienced and observed a drastic change in our healthcare system. We, the people, do need to look for more holistic ways to manage our well-being. I think the traditional beliefs of Indigenous people of North America have the answers regarding connecting with others, community resource management, and environmental protection. Claudel M says, I love this little chat. Joe Dispenza's right. When the individual chooses to change for the betterment of humanity, it brings the change to the collective consciousness. I like this guy. We loved having Joe Dispenza on Under the Skin and on the Awakening side channel. If you're not a member of the Luminary community, you should consider joining that. These are some questions that people have sent in. I've not seen them yet. They're often around mental health and addiction related issues. If you have a question, send them to help@russellbrand.com. If you just want to talk to us in a general way, you can email me at hello@russellbrand.com and I'll get back to you if I can. I can't promise I'll respond to all of your emails, but I promise you I do read all of them. Now, let's have a listen to this. Linda Rutkowska says, I'm a strong follower of you and your work. My son finally lost his battle with life and himself last week from an accidental heroin overdose. He was many years an addict with the attendant chaos. He was 43, we were a close family, but life's been a roller coaster. He too was a great fan and we came to see you in Plymouth. Oh shit, man, that's so recent. Because he was using again, he found the occasion too much and we had to leave. I'm writing to ask if you had any advice how to manage our overwhelming grief. We loved him, supported him, and in many respects kept him alive this long. Thank you for the bits of wisdom that did help him. Firstly, Linda, I'm so sorry for the loss of your son. Obviously, there's nothing I can say that is going to ameliorate the tremendous loss and trauma you've experienced, and neither should anyone try to take away your grief. As Ram Dass says, your grief is your legacy. Grief is what is left of the love. Grief is the journey you're going to have to go on. I've never lost a son, and please God, I will never know the pain that you are now enduring. But what I've learned from teachers a lot wiser than me is that when we lose a child, God forbid, and I'm so sorry that this is something you've already experienced, we have to accept it not as a life cut short, but as a life lived. Your son was an addict. This happens to addicts. It's not your fault. He is at peace now, in so much as even if you are an atheist, he's not suffering. I'm not an atheist. I believe in God. I believe that he lived for as long as he was meant to live and lived as long as he needed to live. I'm so sorry there's so much suffering and addiction in the world. I don't believe it's an individual disease. I believe it's a social disease. I believe we have social conditions that create addiction, that people like your son and myself are spiritually sensitive people that need a great deal of love, nurture and care. I've been clean one day at a time thanks to the 12-step program and the help of other addicts and alcoholics just like me for nearly 20 years. I'm still a sensitive person. I still don't know how my life ends. There are still times when I think pretty crazy thoughts, and I say that as a father and as, a person with a lot of responsibilities and a lot of advantages. For you, I offer you this. It ain't your fault. It wasn't your fault. Your son lived as long as he was meant to live. I'm so sorry for the bluntness, but what can I offer you when you've lost a son? And really, what words could take any more from you? If there's anything else that I can offer, I would offer you this. I was told that at the deepest level, all things are non-local. On some deep part of your being, you understand what it was that you were supposed to experience with your son, that there is a deep and unbreakable bond that we experience as love, and that love is non-local. That love is beyond material. That love can continue to be experienced. If you live just in a rational material model, people live, they die, molecules move further apart, consciousness emerges from biochemical processes, consciousness, the great mystery, the hard problem of consciousness, is nothing to trouble yourself with. Then, times like this, I don't know, man, what you would use to navigate it, other than life is beautiful and nature is beautiful, maybe. But what I believe is that there are deep, deep mysteries to being that we have not yet begun to understand. And in this place of mystery, the place that was the refuge of saints, Sufis, and sages and rishis that understood reality perhaps better than the best educated materialist rationalists of our time, that did experiments in the laboratory of the mind, is that your sun, and indeed all phenomena, have never really left or expired at all. Linda, your job will be to find new depth in your relationship with your son, new depth in your relationship with yourself, new ability to tolerate this unbearable pain. I was told that there is no set time for the grief. There's no set way for the grief. You will just have to experience it. But I know that you are strong enough to survive this, and I know that on some level you and I have to accept that what happened to your son, God rest his soul, you don't say his name here, God rest his soul, your son, and he lived as long as he was meant to live, and I'm sorry it was a life that had suffering. And let's remember what was beautiful about him, and remember what was complex about him, and not blame him for his condition, and not blame yourself for his condition, a disease, I believe, that is exacerbated by a society that excludes the sacred to a degree that some people simply cannot stand. Stay with us, mate. Stay with us. I hope you will stay with our community, and I hope we can continue to offer you some comfort. Jesse N. Cole asks, how do you balance between the spiritual aspects of life while remaining disengaged from the drama and Western capitalistic drive for money? Sometimes I don't remain balanced. See, we just talked to a woman who's lost her son, and now we're talking about the balance. How I do it is I recognise I have many jobs and many roles. I have a role as a father, I have a role as a worker, an entertainer. I have different roles in my life. All of them, as Michael Beckwith predicted, that he's a great pastor with the Agape Church over in LA, and he's been on Under the Skin as a guest, will become somehow, they will coalesce into one role. I feel that happening now. I feel like I know who I'm becoming. I'm still tempted by things that I sort of am at odds with, like money and power and stuff like that. They still sort of have a sway over me. But there is a deepening sense of purpose and connectivity, which, life's getting easier, is basically what I'm saying. Don't judge yourself. In fact, don't judge anything. Just allow pain to pass through you and recognise, what do we know? This is all happening in infinite space. As long as, what I would say is, focus on simple things that you do know. Be of service, be kind, be loving, be compassionate. And when you are uncertain about things, wait. Danny says, sorry, this is the first time I've ever reached out to someone like this. What do you mean? Like you've sent an email to a bloke off of Big Brother and forgetting Sarah Marshall? I should think so, Danny. I'm in various drug and alcohol groups on Facebook, but I'm worried someone I know might see. Basically, I've descended from healthy and sober to not being able to stop drinking or taking cocaine within a matter of days. I was supposed to see Russell live on Tuesday, but I was too fucked to go. Mate, you should have been there. It was a good show Tuesday. What was Tuesday? Was that Brixton or where was I? Hull? St Helens? Blackpool? It was a good one. I was supposed to meet up with loads of friends, but tonight, for the same reason, we didn't make it. I'm not new to this and I have my head screwed on, but I just need someone to talk to. Is this a bit fucked up? What you got to do, Danny, mate, is wherever you live, there are 12-step groups that provide support, specifically in the areas of alcohol addiction, drug addiction or addiction to narcotics, and cocaine addiction. You need to find those groups and you need to attend them. And when you do that, mate, you'll hear these things. One day at a time, don't drink and take drugs. Form relationships with other people that are on that path with you. Cultivate the spiritual side of your nature and concede to your innermost self that drugs and alcohol will never work for you again. You're using them, I suppose, to hold off the pain that we all feel in this world, how lost we feel in this world. We just heard a letter from a mother who's lost her son to addiction. We have an obligation, addicts, to hear the call. What is it? What is it we're supposed to do here? What are we supposed to be doing with our lives? There must be something we're supposed to be doing other than just suffering, And for me, being clean, getting clean one day at a time, looking at my addictive behaviours, it's a lifelong journey and it's a beautiful one. Get off that level. Get out of it. Go to a 12-step meeting right now. That's my advice to you. And then get back to me. We will meet again on this path, Danny. I'm certain of that. Well, thank you for joining me for this mailing list video. Remember, I've told you some pretty important things. Get your ticket to Community. If you can't get a ticket, register for our early Crow Pass to watch the exclusive feature film we're going to make from that day. Come on the Zoom call, Friday the 17th. If you want to come see me chat to Gab or Matty live, come see me. It'll be released as a podcast on Under the Skin, so you can listen to it there if you can't get one of the 50 tickets. We're doing so much stuff. There's so much happening. I want this community to be valuable to you. I want us to build something more important than a business from this community, and I'm glad we get to do it together. Stay free.